Hey, third grade. Today you're going to get back your self-portrait that you started. Hopefully you got this far. You might not have. If you didn't, that's totally fine. Remember that we're working on something called proportions, and that's where things actually belong on your body or on your face. Remember that your eyes go smack dab in the middle of your head. Your nose, the bottom of it, it's going to be halfway between your eyes and the bottom of your chin. And then your mouth, it's going to be just above the halfway point of the bottom of your nose and your chin. So right about here, and then it went up a little bit. Okay, think about the shape of your eyes. They're shaped like a football. Your neck is nice and thick. It typically goes from the corner of your eye straight down. Your ears are as big as from that gap between your eyes and the bottom of your nose. Okay, give yourself some hair. Remember, our hair is kind of tricky. Okay, we looked at different examples for boys and girls. Okay, girls typically have those bangs off to the side. And then depending on how long your hair is, you might have to change that. So once you are this far, you are ready to move on to the next step. And the next thing you are going to do is we're going to add a pattern to our shirt. Actually, we'll probably add 2 or 3 patterns, and that's up to you. So I would probably just start off by drawing a line or 2. So maybe I'll go like this. Okay, so this is going to tell me I'm going to have 1, 2, 3 patterns on my shirt. Okay, and then you can start to add that pattern. So maybe I'll do some stripes. Maybe I'll do some polka dots. Patterns are up to you. Get creative with them. And maybe I'll do a checkerboard. So that means I'm going to draw stripes going different directions, which will give me that checkerboard look. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on the background. You probably want to draw either 2 or 3 lines dividing up your background. All right, so this is going to give me 1, 2, 3, 4 different patterns here. Okay, and then get creative with those patterns. You know, maybe I want to draw like an hourglass shape. I could do these different sizes. A lot of times changing the size makes your artwork a little bit more interesting. Maybe I want to do, I could do some kind of like organic blob-like shapes. I usually say organic shapes look like spilled milk or like the spots on a cow. Okay, maybe I'll do some zigzag stripes maybe. And one more. Maybe I'll do some concentric squares, which means like a square inside a square inside a square. That fancy word was concentric. Once you have your self-portrait drawn, once you have those patterns added to your shirt and your backgrounds, then you are ready to add your black lines. Okay. I'm using a Sharpie. You may or may not have a Sharpie. Otherwise, use like your black Crayola marker, or you could use a black crayon. That's just going to kind of help show those details. And you are going to trace over everything that you drew. So a lot to trace. Except the only thing I'm not going to trace are those guidelines. Remember those really light lines that I drew last time to help show where things belong on my face? Those are not going to get traced. Those are just there to help you know where things belong. Okay, and we'll end up erasing them. So carefully Sharpie everything. Right, once you have finished sharpieing everything using either a Sharpie or your black Crayola marker or your black crayon, the last thing I'm hoping that you can get done today is to take a block eraser. So I think you guys have these in your supply boxes. Take a block eraser and just work on erasing all of those pencil lines. So really look hard. See if you can find any. Okay, and when I erase, typically I put my hand down like this L, and I erase this section in this part of my hand. Okay, if I start trying to erase out here, I'm probably going to crumple that corner. So I have to keep moving my hand around my paper. When you're done, you might want to ask your teacher to make sure that you got all those pencil lines. Okay, notice I'm erasing those guidelines that I talked about. Those are just there to help you. And by getting rid of those lines, it's just going to make our artwork look a little bit nicer, a little bit more professional. We call that craftsmanship. That is just making your artwork look really nice. It looks well made. We don't want it to look sloppy. All right, and when you are that far, and we can dump off your pencil shavings, then you are done for the day. Okay, do your best to get this far. If you don't get quite that far, that's fine. But I'm hoping everybody will at least get to the sharpening today. Okay, and then next time we'll get rocking and rolling with some color. All right, take care, guys.